How are you? Let's do another episode of the Fat Baby Podcast. Even though it's not a podcast, I'd have guests on the show. But I'm always here to tell a story. And I was going to do an episode about the eclipse, but couldn't get any good shots of the eclipse. And so I took last 2 days off. Getting some views on the channel, but I was thinking what I could talk about tonight. I was thinking about Friends, not the television show Friends. It was a good show, but it's on all the time. You could probably turn your TV on right now. You could find an episode. Anyways, Friends. I think there's all kinds of different types of friends. There's the best friends, and then there's the friends that you kind of hang out with once in a while, but, you know, you just do that. Friends are people that are supposed to do anything for a friend, you go back and forth. And friends that you trust with your life. Friends with trust for your life is, I would consider my wife. She's my best friend that I trust with my life. And then there's friends that were your friends, and they not disrespect you, but betray you. And I felt betrayed by two friends. And I'm not going to name their names. They know who they are. I used to film things with them, a couple of shows. I got sick, and then all of a sudden they quit calling me back or anything like that. And I was ready after I got healthy again last time. I had ideas for an episode of the show, but never heard anything from them. Anyways, those are people. For friends like that, it doesn't help you to trust people you meet, because you think somehow they're going to betray you. I want to talk to you about my best friend that is not my wife. But I think you can have best friends, like tons of best friends. You can't just rank them all. It's like, oh, that's my number one best friend, and then there's number two best friend. No. This guy, his name's Mark, and I went to high school with him. I met him when I was a junior, and he was a freshman at Lowell High School. He was 2 years behind me, but he was only like a year maybe younger than me. But Mark, he's truly my best friend. I don't hear a lot from him sometimes. He was here in October. We hung out for my birthday. He was a great guy. He played drums in a band. He's a chef now. He's been a chef for, God knows, I don't know how many years. He's a truly best friend. He came to my wedding. Out of the blue. It was the first time I've seen him in I don't know how many years for my wedding. That was 10 years ago, coming up in June. But Mark, it's hard to explain, but we got into some hijinks. Everyone gets into hijinks. Like one time we went to the junkyard, Ike's junkyard, cut through one of his buddy's yards that you could get there without climbing a fence. It was downpour rain. Both of us had like long hair. Real long hair. Now, I miss that long hair, but I'm going bald on top. Hair's getting a little puffy now. Need to shave. But then all of a sudden, we heard he was looking for parts for his Horizon. I know, it's Plymouth Horizon, which I would end up I'd drive a Plymouth Horizon after I graduated high school. Ike's junkyard. So all of a sudden, we seen a cop driving through there. We hid in the back of a van for at least 20 minutes in a cold spring rain. It was spring or fall, I'm not sure, but it was a wet day. So we finally got out of there, and that was one of our adventures. We'd always have an adventure. No matter what we do, it is always an adventure. Even we'd go to Myers at like 2 in the morning when they're open 24 hours, and it was always an adventure. He'd always never have gas in his car. It was always on E, but we never ran out of gas. When he was here in October, he had to look for some vapes, so we went to the vape store, and there's a Jet's Pizza next to there. This reminded me he would always stop at a gas station to buy something to eat, and I wasn't hungry anyways, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to Jets and get a slice of pizza. That's just Mark. He's the same Mark, or just, same, he's just older. But Mark, how did we meet? Oh, another pizza story. He worked at Little Caesars, the same Little Caesars I worked at for about 2 months. So I go in there, we kind of like seen each other in high school and stuff like that. So I'd go in, Mom had me pick up a pizza. So Mom gave me the money to pay for the pizza. And I go in there, and he goes, hey man, how you doing? I was like, good. He's like, hey. I was like, I got a pizza to pick up for Caldwell. Okay. So he would, he's like, well, I was like, well, how much do I owe you, He's like, a penny, 2 cents. I was like, are you serious? 2 cents? It's something like that. So I gave him 2 cents and walked out with pizza. So, and then it doesn't end the Little Caesar story. So one day he went to pick up his paycheck. He'd never cash paychecks, it seems like. Picked up his paycheck, and my mom was complaining about not having Parmesan cheese. I think that's how it is. So he goes in there, throws his coat over one of the big, like Gordon's type Parmesan cheese, the big containers, and walked out with it. And then he goes to my mom, here you go, Judy. Here you go, Mrs. Caldwell. And he just called me Caldwell. His parents thought that was my first name, was Caldwell. But anyway, so my mom was all shocked about that. And then it's still a running story. And then Mark and I, after I graduated, Mark, I don't know if he graduated. I had to go an extra year in high school because I messed up a lot in high school. So I had to go to a semester, an extra semester, and then I had to go to night school for another semester. And I did the walk, the walk for graduation, had to. It's a long 5 years in high school. I know it's nothing to joke about, but hey, I did it anyways. So, Mark had tickets to 311, 2 tickets to 311. So he decided to take me. Hey, man, you want to go? I was like, okay, yeah, let's go. So his parents at the time were on vacation. I forget where they were, but his mom left the keys to, I believe it is a Chevy Celebrity. Mark would know. I think it was a Chevy Celebrity. So before we're going, his brother says, hey, man, you guys better not take, Mark, you better not take Mom's car. And if you do, don't smoke in it. So the first thing he does is get in the car, lights a cigarette up, and we head off. And we had he had a tape deck at the time, and he kept on playing. It was when 311's album Transistor came out. So we play over and over again the song Transistor. Not any other songs off the album, just Transistor. So we get on the highway, we're on I-96, going to the show, and we miss the exit, like to go to Clarkston, get off the other part of the highway, I forget. So we go. I was like, why did that sign say Toledo, Mark? He's like, what the hell? He's like, we got to turn around. He's like, you're supposed to navigate or something like that. I was like, man, I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. It's probably too enthralled with the 311 show I'm going to go see at Clarkston. So we get back on the highway, get to the show, and people were passing out, the green stuff, marijuana, I mean. And we felt pretty good. Show was great, what I remember of it is. And so as we're walking out into the parking lot, this is the second part, there's one where we got lost, enjoyed the show. And then the second part is, so there's these hippie girls out there, and they had problem, their muffler was hanging. So Mark's like, I can help you. And they were hippie girls, all right. So we're young guys, we're like, oh, I'm a young guy. And so Mark fixed their muffler with the old, the coat hangers trick. And so he's like, okay, we'll go. Hey, you guys want to go to Denny's and hang out? And Mark's like, no, we got to go. So I was like, what? In my head, I was like, what the hell? Come on, man. Well, he was enthralled with a girl that he'd known for a long time. I won't name her name, but he was enthralled with her, just intrigued by her. I don't even know if they ended up going out or not. I think it was just a good friendship they had a big crush on. So, not the end of the story yet. So we're heading back. We're on I-96, probably a mile from the Lowell exit. And I noticed our speed's increasing. I was like, okay, no big deal. And so there's a car in front of us in the right-hand lane. And we're getting closer and closer. And I was like, oh shit, okay, he's gonna pass pretty soon. It was about 2 in the morning, I bet. So next, I've told many people this story, but I have to tell YouTube the story. We're getting closer and closer, and we're probably, I would say, maybe getting closer to 15 to 20 feet from this car. I look over to the driver's side. There's Mark. He's sleeping as he's driving. He had cruise control on. And all of a sudden, I just go, Mark, wake up! And he passes, not in the left-hand lane, but the shoulder. Passes his car on the shoulder. I've never been freaked out so much in my life. But we ended up getting home. There's so many stories I could tell of Mark. Like, we went to a Halloween a party with his brother who dressed up as Jesus. And Mark didn't dress up. I dressed up as Matt Foley, Chris Farley's character on Saturday Night Live, the motivational speaker. Everyone knows that character. So we took shrooms that night. And we had to go back to his car. And then I'm pretty sure we were tripping pretty good. And Mark swears I was talking his ear off, and all of a sudden he goes, "Shut up, Caldwell." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "We just walked past a cop car." And there's probably not a cop car there. Probably not, but that's just how I was with Mark. We'd go, we'd do just shit together. We'd always have something to do. Even if we watched Fast Times at Ridgemont High like 300 times, Caddyshack about 400 times. We know the lines for that. We annoy the shit out of people when we do lines from that movie. We still do it. Right? We did it in front of my wife when he was here in October, and she's like, "Geez, oh Pete, you guys are idiots." But Mark is one of those friends that you trust with your life, even if you don't see him in like 15 years. It's like you meet up with him, and it's like you've never left him. We'd go down, my wife and I would go down to Grand Rapids. We'd see him. We have to see Mark. We'd go visit him. He's just a really good friend. And like I said, if you go down to Grand Rapids, we gotta go see Mark. We were planning on it pretty soon, but of course I messed my foot up, but gotta get healthy first. But it's just the start of the season, We're at the middle of spring, we're heading on to summer here pretty soon, about just over 2 months. We're gonna get down there. But like I said, there's different types of friends. The friend could be a person that you work with and gives you a ride home when you don't have a ride. That's a friend. That's a friend that will do, stuff for you. A friend is someone that will listen to you. But the worst type of friend is someone who will betray you. And there was 2 people that betrayed me. And they know who they are. So it's going to be a short one today. I just had to get this out there. I just always thought about doing that. I felt bad because my dad and I went to see Van Halen in 1998, and I ended up going with my dad. Still, I don't regret it. But you know what? In the back of my head, I think about this all the time. I should have had freaking Mark go, because he took me to 311, but then we'd probably get in some crazy adventure. But his brother was there. His brother actually stood with us at the Van Halen concert, which we were only like maybe 15, 20 rows back. I forget. I still have the ticket stub for it. Wish I could have kept the ticket stub for the 311 concert, because that's just such a memory. It's not the concert or the show that you have memories of. It's who you're with and what happens during the concert or before or after the concert or anything, whatever you do. So, I have adventures with my wife because she's my best friend, a different type of best friend, that you do. She is a best friend that she would do anything for me, and I would do anything for her. We fight sometimes, but I would get in fights with Mark. We would fight. You'd get fights with your friends, but you'd get over it. So I have to learn when I fight with my wife and she fights with me, we both have to learn how to get over it sooner. So, Mark, you're watching. Hope you enjoyed the story, and you know the stories anyway. So, remember, like, subscribe, comment, and that's the episode of the Fat Baby Podcast. And this is Andy. See you next time.